All right, here's a few practice problems similar to what you might see on the first assignment, dealing with total revenue and elasticity. Kind of wrote out a couple um, things to think about here. When we're looking at elastic demand, again, meaning that this is responsive to price change. When prices move one direction, total revenue is going to move in the other. So when we're dealing with the elastic part of a demand curve, or where demand is more responsive to price change, if prices increase, you're going to see a decrease in the total revenue. If prices decrease, they fall, meaning consumers are going to buy considerably less because it is elastic. It's very responsive to this price change. They're going to buy more. If prices fall, we're going to see total revenue increase. That's with elastic demand. Inelastic demand, as price moves in one direction, total revenue will move in the same direction. So when we're dealing with inelastic demand, meaning consumers, the quantity that consumers would purchase is not going to change a whole lot regardless with the price. So if prices go up, meaning consumers are just not going to buy that many fewer. They're still going to buy relatively close to what they were buying before. Now you're going to see total revenue increase, and that makes sense because now you're getting more. Price has gone up, you're getting more revenue for each unit that you sell, and consumers are still buying relatively the same amount. So as prices fall, total revenue, right? Consumers are still going to buy, you're just not getting as much revenue per item. So as prices fall, total revenue goes down. So we're going to keep these things in mind as we look at these problems. So if city officials are contemplating whether or not to increase subway fares in New York City as a way to boost spending, consumer spending on subway rides. So if we increase subway fares, is this going to increase total revenue? That's what the question is asking. Is the city going to make more money by raising fares? Well, let's look here. This is going to have to do with demand. We're not talking about supply. Okay, because we're not talking about supplying more of this good or service. We're looking at how consumers will respond. So we're looking at demand. So an increase in subway fares will boost expenditures. I'll come down here only if price goes up, total revenue goes up. That's what we're looking for. Price can go up. That's only going to happen if demand is inelastic. So first one here is letter C, right? If demand for subway rides is inelastic, meaning consumers are not going to ride that many less, take that many less trips, you will see an increase in revenue from increasing the subway fare. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Number 2, the demand for a good is elastic if. Okay, so now we're going the other way around. So if we want to see if demand is elastic, it's going to be asking us, well, what happens with total revenue? How are we going to know? So if demand is elastic, let's look at our options. A decrease in price results in a decrease in total revenue. If it's elastic, a decrease in price is going to lead to an increase in total revenue. So that one's not going to work. If the good is a necessity. Well, we're going to get into determinants of elasticity. Whether or not a good is a necessity or a luxury will determine whether or how elastic it is. Typically, goods that are necessities are not going to be very elastic. I used the example of my son's EpiPen. That was very inelastic demand, and because of how much of a necessity it was. Usually goods like milk, gasoline, these are things that no matter the price, we typically are buying relatively the same amount week to week. So if the good is a necessity, it's likely going to be inelastic, so that one's not going to work. C, an increase in its price results in an increase in total revenue. Come over here, increase in price, that's a decrease in total revenue. Right, so C is not going to work. An increase in its price results in a decrease in total revenue. So if we have elastic demand, if price goes up, total revenue goes down, we know that we have elastic demand. Number 3, producers' total revenue will decrease if. All right, what's going to happen to total revenue? Well, if the price rises and demand is inelastic, let's come over here. Inelastic demand, if price rises, what happens to total revenue? Inelastic, right? The price rises, demand is inelastic. Total revenue is going to go up. So producer total revenue would decrease if. So that one's not going to work. If income increases and the good is a normal good. We'll get to, I want to come back to this one and explain this in a second, income and normal goods, because we're dealing with shifting of the demand curve here. If the price rises and demand is elastic, so let's come over, here we go, elastic demand. If price rises, what happens to total revenue? Remember, they move opposite, total revenue is going down. So for C, producer's total revenue will decrease if the price rises and demand is elastic. So 3 gotta be C. Lastly, 4, producer's total revenue will increase if. All right, let's go. Income falls and the good is a normal good. Well, if our income falls and the good is a normal good, we're going to see a decrease in demand for normal goods. If income increases and the good is an inferior good, we're going to see a decrease in the demand for inferior goods. So go to B and C. If price rises and demand is inelastic, price rises, demand is inelastic, what happens to total revenue? It goes up. So producer's total revenue will increase if price rises, and demand is inelastic. All right, they'll move in the same direction. Hopefully that helps. Use this, pencil that out, that'll help you as you work through those problems. Good luck.